Hello, everyone. Welcome to Patriots 3, Life, Liberty, Pursuit of Happiness. And here's your host, Tim, and special guests, Amy and Kimberly. How you two doing tonight?
Doing well. How are you doing, Tim? Thanks for having us.
Yeah, you're welcome. Just a quick reminder for our audience to go ahead and like, share, and follow on Tim Holliday TV. That's TIMHOLLIDAY TV. We are on YouTube, Rumble, Facebook, Twitch TV. Try to get some of those video gamer kids in. And later on, we'll be on iHeart, Spotify, and Apple Podcasts. So tonight, we're going to be covering a few different things. And we're going to be talking about the new variant that's coming out. We're going to be talking about keeping health alternatively. And we're going to touch up a little bit on Remnant Health and some very important topics as we're coming into this new season of elections and a new variant that's coming out. Oh, and my co-host is finally joining. Yes. Where is she? Tanya, are you there? Oh, she'll be on in just a moment. So my co-host Tanya, she's having some technical issues. So just a quick announcement. I made some of these announcements earlier this month. Yes. So Remnant Healthcare is actually looking for a nurse over in the San Francisco area, as well as in Kentucky. So go ahead and I'll leave a website on the chat on how you can get more information on that. And this is actually part of Kimberly's team with the RemnantHealthcare.org. So
yeah, absolutely. We have great opportunities all across the country, but specifically we are looking for nurses in the San Francisco Bay Area and in the Kentucky, the state of Kentucky. We're looking for, and it's for just a simple IV push visit. So it's not anything too complicated. So well compensated for your time and your trouble. So yeah, and it's just a great opportunity to join a team of like-minded nurses. So
yeah. Awesome. So with elections coming up, guess what I saw? Actually, I saw this on your page, Kimberly. I saw that this morning.
Yes,
beware the new midterm. I mean, it seems like every election season, there's some new bug that comes out.
Yeah, definitely at election season, but really it's all the time. We see the fear-based marketing coming up. Fear is a huge and very strong marketing tool.
Yes, it is.
It truly is. But we've seen the pattern before. If you remember during COVID, when we had it was constant fear, right? It was the little ticker running across the screens with the death tolls and all of the things. So, unfortunately, urgency just replaces informed decision making. So,
yeah.
Right.
Yeah, it's very unfortunate on how the people buy into that fear, and it's very unfortunate. They repeat it over and over again, and there's a wonderful little term that I've heard,
and that's the key: the repetition, right? The repetition of that messaging. It creates the perception that everybody's going along with this. Everybody is in fear. Everybody's going to get the booster. Everybody's doing everything because you see it over and over again, and you're familiar with Project Mockingbird.
I was just going to say that. Yes.
Yeah. So we've seen it. We've seen this page of the playbook many, many times. But my role as a nurse is not to tell anybody what to do, but it's to help you to stop and think clearly so you can make a good and grounded decision.
Yeah, being well informed as a patient is absolutely necessary. I know I'm a patient myself. I've seen hundreds of doctors and interns. So I've been misinformed many a times about a lot of different things.
Well, most of the time, your doctors and your nurses, how are we supposed to expect to be able to give informed consent when many times we ourselves as medical professionals are not fully informed?
Right.
How are we supposed to be giving informed consent when we're not informed ourselves? Mm-hmm. And the only education that we get on vaccines as nurses is safe, effective, and necessary. Oh, and here's the schedule. That's it. And doctors get little more than that.
Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow, that's terrible. So it's, just uninformed from all ends, it seems like. It's a kind of a trickle down or a domino effect, so to speak. Mm-hmm. So if you're not being informed, how can you inform someone with their proper information? Wow. Mm-hmm. Wow. Yeah, so going back to the elections on this new fear-based thing, if everyone follows the Bible actually says over 360 times, do not fear.
Yeah, exactly. And there's 365 times that's mentioned in the Bible. And I don't think it's any coincidence that we have 365 days in the year. So every day we are not meant to live in a spirit of fear, period.
Correct. Yes. Yeah, that actually causes a lot of health issues too. You're living under the constant stress.
Your immune system, stress itself impacts the immune system greatly. And we saw that during COVID. When your immune system takes a hit like that, then and it's the stress and the fear is going to lead into that as well.
Oh, a lot of people are going stir crazy by being under lockdown. Various states like New York and California, they were, wow, people going stir crazy, causing some psychological issues too. There's a rise in domestic violence, a lot of things that were going on, and you nurses take a toll. It's not a safe place to work. You guys, or you ladies, I should say, patients are not very patient when it comes to going into an ER situation or hospital situation. It's rough because patients can be very demanding.
They can be, but you really have to try to put yourself in their shoes. That they are in a very stressful situation. They're away from home. I really try to give a lot of grace to patients when they are, because they are, I'm not trying to excuse just absolute rude behavior, but you have to understand that they are in a very vulnerable situation. And a lot of times they are fear, and I hate to say you should be fearful, but hospitals are not safe places anymore. We've determined that. If COVID showed us anything, it showed us that hospitals are not safe places. So I don't really blame patients for being a little bit on edge and a little bit afraid of, well, what are these people going to do to me? Because if they are awake and aware and know what was happening during COVID, they've watched hospitals, nurses, doctors, in many cases, murder their loved ones. So they're going to be afraid to go in the hospital, and I don't blame them one bit. But that's why I always tell people it is imperative that you have an advocate in place. I don't care if you're a nurse yourself. When I recently had a family member in the hospital, I'm capable of advocating. I do it all the time as a nurse, but it's very difficult to advocate for your own family member. And actually, Amy was one of on the team that advocated for my family. I'm so grateful for her and everything that she did. But don't ever leave yourself in a situation where you're in a hospital and you don't have an advocate in place. People don't think they need one until they do, and then you're behind the eight ball.
Right. So, Amy, tell us a little bit about your advocacy and how you're right there on the front lines.
Well, it started many years ago when our son got sick, and we realized very quickly that you need someone else on the inside knowing things, because as a parent, you kind of get sideswiped with all the information that comes your way. And so it's so important to have someone else, detached from the emotion of the moment to filter all of this information. And so we just kind of, as a family, I guess that's been I don't want to say it's a gift, but I guess it is, because I think it does take, I'm going to say it's a gift. I think it's one of those heartfelt things the Lord has to put in you, but in our experience that gift grew, and we have been able to reach across the lines and get the needle moving for families. Otherwise that never would have gotten moved. I know in Kimberly's experience, her family member was in a very bad situation and the hospital wasn't doing anything, and the family member needed to be moved to a facility. And so we got on a conference call with the hospital, the therapist, the doctors, the hospitalist, the case manager. And when they realized there was an advocate involved, Kimberly, what was it? Within a week, we were getting answers, we were getting responses, we were getting lab results, like literally.
Yeah, it really moves the needle when you bring in a professional advocate.
Yeah. Yeah, I remember going into an ER situation, and the intake nurse was taking my information. It was asking me of medications I've taken, and I've taken. I was asking her for drug names because I've taken a medication with a brand name with the word Flex in it. I've taken Keflex, Xanaflex, and Flexeril, and I'm like, give me the drug name is And yeah, I was giving the drug names to look up information on a regular basis because I want to know what I'm taking. And she didn't have that ability, even though she had a computer right in front of her. And I'm just like going crazy.
Well, and that right there is a problem, because any nurse that is giving you information about medications shouldn't, or especially if they're giving you a medication, they need to know everything about that medication, what it is, what it's used for, what it's indicated for, what its potential side effects are, and they need to be able to communicate that information. That's called informed consent. If they're just handing you a pill that they have no idea what it is, that's a problem.
Well, she wasn't handing me a pill. She was asking me what medications I was currently on. And yeah, I can't remember exactly. One's an antibiotic. Another one is to help out with spasticity. And the other one is a muscle relaxer. And I'm just like, which, give me the drug names. Is it cyclobenzaprine? Is it ketoflexin, I believe, is the antibiotic? And I forget what the third one is. But yeah, I was asking, and I'm just like,
yeah.
And
I think COVID brought an element of issues with this because they were like turning out nurses very quickly.
Oh no, this is pre-COVID.
Oh, really?
This is I want to say 2015.
The system's been broken forever. So I think I say that all the time. Listen, I've been in the system for 30 years. It's been broken for a long time. COVID really just started to kind of shine a light on how broken it actually is.
Yes. Yeah, the COVID definitely put a light onto a lot of what's going on.
And thankfully, I like to think that if there were a silver lining to COVID, and I think that there was, I think it is that so many people, so many nurses and doctors really started to wake up to what's been happening for really too long. I didn't come into the fight anti-vax at all. I came in pro-vaccine my entire life and nursing career. I can tell you I'm not leaving that way. I can tell you that much, but because I've actually taken the time to do the research. But prior to COVID and my eyes being open, I was just going with the flow.
Yeah.
Right.
Following orders.
Right. I think we all do that. Even as parents, we have our children and we trust the system. We are brought up to trust the system and to trust the doctors. And it wasn't until our second born was diagnosed with autism that it finally clicked. Like, we didn't do this. Something happened. And it wasn't until I read the book, How to Raise Your Children in Spite of Your Pediatrician, that I started to connect that, hey, this is a lot bigger than me, and it's more than just trusting what we're told. And we have to advocate for ourselves and our children, and be aware of these things. We have to be wise. The Bible even tells us to be, how does it go? Wise as a serpent, but innocent, as a dove. And so I think we have to take on that philosophy medically too. We have to be wise, and we have to proceed with caution and not take everybody for face value.
Right.
100%.
So I want to switch it up a little bit. I've seen a funny joke on social media. I want to say it was Facebook. I don't own this joke, so don't get me in trouble here. But let me see here if I can pull this up really quick. It was quite hilarious to me when I saw this. It was about 8 or 9 months ago I saw this. Your future doctor is using ChatGPT to pass med school, so you better start eating healthy.
Right. That's no lie. Yeah. Well, even before ChatGPT, these doctors didn't know anything about nutrition. They don't know a single thing about health or wellness. They basically know how to manage symptoms with pharmaceuticals. That's what they are taught.
Yeah. It's basically just the Band-Aid treatment, put a Band-Aid on it and send you home. And, then sometimes the Band-Aid will cause more harm, or the medication will cause more harm than,
they typically do.
What the disease or ailment is.
Yeah, that's the problem, is they'll put you on these medications. They have no real plan to get you off of them. They'll just, they'll see you every 3 months and they'll refill your prescription. Well, what's the plan to get you off of this medication? These medications don't come without side effects.
Correct.
And then but don't worry, there's another, there's a pill for every ill. So whatever side effects that one medication causes, they'll just write you a new prescription.
So for the opioids like Vicodin and other such drugs. There's actually a stool softener that came along with the Vicodin.
Oh yeah. Well, definitely, because that will back you up a little bit.
It'll clog you up. Yes. Yeah, a little bit. That's an understatement.
Yeah.
Been down that road before. Thank goodness. I 2 years ago, well, at the end of April will be 2 years since I've had any pharmaceuticals. I've completely, and that was the last one was for thyroid. Yeah, I've found alternatives, and yeah, we'll touch bases on that. For keeping healthy alternatively. Yes, I started quitting things. Like I quit my over 20-year habit of Coca-Cola.
Yeah.
Such a bad thing. That causes so much inflammation.
Those little things that you can do to make a difference. And I tell people all the time, you can kind of go in and you want to make a change, and you can go in like just utterly obsessed with changing everything, but that's not sustainable. You have to make small changes that you're going to be able to sustain. And if it's cutting out Coca-Cola, great, like do that. Cutting out bread or whatever it is. But I think coming off of the pharmaceuticals is huge. I certainly don't recommend just stopping medications. Definitely get with a medical professional. We can help you at remnanthealthcare.org. We can help you, and we can discuss those types of things. But for every issue that you're taking a pharmaceutical product for, there is a natural version.
Right.
And just a quick disclaimer, we're not here to give medical advice, so contact your medical professional. And as she said, reach out to that website.
You do have to be careful, like Kimberly said, because, for instance, someone on blood thinners or blood pressure medication, like we would recommend, say red pepper flakes or hawthorn berry, but you can't mix those. And so I think that's why Remnant works so well together, because we have so many different layers available to you. We've got nurses, we've got health practitioners, we've got functional MDs, and that we just meet together and discuss your case, and we help you safely make this transition.
Right. And one thing I really hate is blanket recommendations. And I did not like these during COVID. Like, everybody take vitamin D, or I don't like blanket recommendations like that. We are all individuals. Everything needs to be individualized. So you'll never hear me saying, throwing out a blanket recommendation for anything. My thing is, let's get your I need to see your medical history and dig into all of that before I would make any kind of recommendations like that. So very important.
My history is about like 2.5 to 3 inches thick. And that's the paper version, not even the digital.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, everybody is individual, and we need to treat them as such. So
yes.
And what works for one doesn't always necessarily work for another. So I never like to discount anybody's healing either, because somebody could use something and it could work wonderfully for them. Another person could use it does nothing, but you don't want to, invalidate or discount somebody's success because it didn't work well for another. And again, that goes back to just us being individuals and having different makeups. So
yeah, absolutely. Yeah.
Biomedical, interventions.
Yes.
Yes, some people are allergic to certain things, and other people are not. So that's also a part of it too.
Yeah.
And then I've talked about in some of my past shows that that there's a strong possibility that I'm vaccine injured from some of the symptoms that I've had. But those other things, it could be a compound as well.
I wouldn't doubt. I really am of the very firm belief that we're all vaccine injured on some level. We just have not connected the dots. If you think about all of the chronic illness that we see, all of the arthritis, all the eczema, the psoriasis, all of the autoimmune conditions that we see, how many? Most of us are vaccinated. I was, completely vaccinated. I never had any issues with autoimmune. About 6 months after I got into the medical field, when I was 19 years old, I was diagnosed with psoriasis and psoriatic arthritis, which I've dealt with my whole life now. And I've never had that before. And then 6 months after getting into the healthcare field, what happens when we get into the healthcare field? We get a 3-shot series of the Hep B. I never really thought about it, but years later, I'm like, I wonder if that was what
triggered aluminum. Yep.
So,
wow.
I really think that we are all vaccine injured on some level. It's not just the vaccines, though, Tim. I mean, it's multifactorial for sure. The they're putting things in our food. It's
Yes.
in the water we drink, the air that we breathe, and that's why I preach all the time about continual detoxification. Like it's not optional. We have such a heavy toxic burden. So we use a great foundational detox product at Remnant. We have many different ones that we use, but we do use the Trinity, which I think is a great product. That's what I personally use, because it's gentle enough that you can do it all the time. And I need to shut off my notifications. I'm sorry.
Oh, that's okay. That's okay.
But we need to be able to to continually detox, because that toxic burden is not going anywhere.
Right.
And I like the Trinity as well, Kimberly, because you and I did the call with that lady, and it opens up our pathways so that we are able to detox. And it's so important to do these things in layers so that we're not recycling the toxins.
Right.
Yes.
Exactly right.
So, what are your thoughts on parasites in the body? I'll go right in. If cats and dogs are not immune to parasites, what makes humans immune?
Right. Well, there used to be a time when people would do like parasite cleanses every 6 months regularly. This was a regular routine thing. I think still do. Yeah. And they are far more common than people would like to believe. I know I was talking about doing a parasite cleanse last year, and you can sometimes with the dye off, you can like see parasites literally coming out your body. I was like, well, I will set myself on fire. So I couldn't do it alone. I had to have somebody do it with me. I will set myself on fire if I see this. But yeah, I mean, it's a thing. It is an absolute thing, and we need to start looking at that. I think that's why I think medications like ivermectin and different things like that are helping people to feel so much better. And again, I'm not recommending you go out and do anything, but get some guidance on this.
Yes.
For sure. But these medications have proven to help clear those parasites. It's a thing.
And it's important to have a binder with those things too, because if you're taking a binder, it helps, pull out the stuff that Kimberly doesn't want to see.
Well, if these parasites are dying off, they're going to leave toxins behind. So therefore, the binder actually helps pull those toxins out, just to my understanding.
Yes.
Yes, because even the parasites have a die off, and we're stuck with the leftovers.
Yes. So definitely, if you're going through this route, definitely seek professional medical advice.
We'll let Kimberly deal with that.
Okay.
Kimberly, have the remnant patients that are just kidding.
After she gets a nap.
I'm going to need the nap first. We have such a great team though. I don't take a lot of clients personally anymore. I did in the beginning, but because it just got really difficult. I was traveling a lot, and I was running 2 organizations, and I still work full time. So it was very, very difficult. So I'm more of like a visionary for Remnant. We've got Krista, who is, I always say, is the heart and soul of Remnant. I don't care if I'm the face of the organization. Krista's behind the scenes, and we would be absolutely nothing without her and all of the work that she does day in and day out, and just kind of holding our team together. She's absolutely amazing. And we've got this incredible team. I think we've got 20 maybe now practitioners.
I mean, it's grown recently. I think we've added 2 in the last 2 months.
Yeah, we're growing with our practitioners, and we're growing with our client base, because we are making a difference in people's lives, and they are talking. When you get people well and they start feeling better, they start telling their friends, and they start telling their families. When you're able to make headway with these doctors and nurses in hospitals, and you're actually able to get something accomplished, they're telling their friends and their family. So we've had a pretty good influx of people wanting care from us. So it's exciting. It's an exciting season of growth.
Wow, that is awesome. Yeah, and I worked retail like 30 years ago, and that was one of the first things they taught in orientation, is that word of mouth is very Very, very powerful.
It's very powerful. And, I wanted to grow, and I guess we should back up a little, because I don't know that your listeners or viewers even really know what Remnant is. But I mean, I started out as a nurse, an ICU nurse, and started the organization Nurse Freedom Network, advocating when patients were, nurses were wanting to, not wanting to get the COVID shot, and they were firing all of these nurses. So I started that organization, Nurse Freedom Network, back in July of 2021 to take a stand against that. Started really, really small, started out as a small Facebook group. And then it was literally me, a bullhorn, and a sign that said Nurse Freedom Network outside of local hospitals here in Nashville, Tennessee. And we just really started quickly growing. We started building advocacy teams in all 50 states. I ended up getting some national attention. I started speaking at events all across the country, Defeat the Mandates in DC and LA. And all of a sudden we were everywhere. But beyond the advocacy part of it, my vision was much bigger. I really wanted to be able to create opportunities for nurses who knew that there was a better way, who knew that there was a way to get away from this broken and oppressive sick care system, because truly that's what it is.
Yes.
Does not keep anybody well. Right. So I had the vision for Remnant Healthcare, and I've been very intentional about growing this organization organically. I never accepted funding. I started it up with what little money I had left, because I had resigned from my job when they were, I have not found a nice way to say this, but when they were murdering my patients for profit.
Wow.
I left the ICU and then started working from home doing telephone triage nursing. From there, I started becoming uncomfortable again with the protocols that they were asking us to use, and they wanted me to recommend the COVID vaccine for children. But not only that, they wanted me to tout them as safe and effective, period. We had no information at that time. So that's not informed consent. So I refused and I resigned. So I took what little bit of money I had left, and I established Remnant as a private membership association. So we are a 508c1a. Nurse Freedom Network is a nonprofit 501c3, and then we have the private membership association, where it's your private contractual agreement between your member and yourself, and it is completely outside of the mainstream system.
Good. Yeah, and the unfortunate thing is something like that, insurance tends to not cover.
We don't fool with insurance at all, because, and there will be, and that's unfortunate, but there will be practitioners out there that will say that, oh, we're a direct primary care, but we still take insurance. Mm-hmm. And that's, to me, if you're accepting insurance, you're not outside the system, because you are still having regulated all of their edicts and all of the things. Mm-hmm. So you are even a baby toe into the system, you're too far in, as far as I'm concerned.
Right. No, I've I seeked alternative care, and I've done really well, getting outside of the system, outside of the thumb of the system, and let me tell you, it's definitely well worth it. Mm-hmm. Definitely well worth it. Mm-hmm. So that's how I'm just going to tell the audience like that.
Mm-hmm. Well, honestly, the things that we have paid for our son within the medical realm, Remnant's way cheaper. I mean,
okay.
Yeah, we keep our prices very affordable.
They are very
the thing, affordable. To Amy's point, if you're using insurance, but you've got your deductibles, your co-pays, all of these things, your premiums that you're paying, and then what do you get at the end of the day? Maybe 7 minutes with your doctor, and at the end of that appointment, he's handing you a prescription for a medication that is probably going to make you sicker than when you walked in the door.
Yeah,
it's disease maintenance.
Yes,
and just a little history about us. Our son has been sick since he was 11 years old, and we have been in the medical system for all this time. And just since I've been with Remnant, and the fact that they care so much about everyone, they don't really even know our son, but the things that I have gleaned from the team that I know for a fact is helping him, we've seen improvements just recently. And, it's pretty amazing. He has autoimmune encephalitis, and it was so severe that it wiped his brain academically. We literally had to start over with him when he was 17 years old. So when I say I put all of my eggs and apples in Remnant's basket, it's not just because it's something to do, or, it's because we care and they care. And I've seen it in our own family. We're very real and very passionate, and we have come from a disease maintenance system to a whole health care. Like, we really care about the mind, body, and spirit. And I love it here. I love it.
That is amazing. Yeah, you're getting down to the root core of what's causing the issue. And that's something that, your atypical doctor does not do. They look at the symptom, not the core issue.
Well, we all believe in self-regulating and self-healing. I mean, when you give the body what the body needs so the body can do what the body should, that's when you make the breakthrough.
Yes,
exactly. The body has a remarkable ability to heal. It's designed to do just that. You have to get out of its own way, right? But I think, and I tell people all the time, people are like, oh, is this going to cost money? I haven't. It does cost a little bit. Like I said, we keep our prices very, very low. Sometimes you have to make an investment in certain, products or supplements and I get that. And I get that but I tell people, you can pay a little bit now, or you can pay in disease and despair later. Choices.
Right. Yes. Oh, believe me, feeling more alive and more awake is definitely well worth it. That's absolute. Yes.
Right. Well, just to give a little comparison, I mean, we have a $5,000 out of pocket. And so that's typically met for Adam in January.
Okay.
And so some of Remnant's packages, some of our bundles are just a fraction of that cost.
Nice.
And it can do for people what our supposed health system and insurance is supposed to be doing for Adam, which is not working. So it's a blessing. It's really a blessing.
That is great. That is awesome. So let's see here. Yeah, we're covering quite a bit about Remnant Health in your website. Got this crazy variant coming out in the elections. That's just, the atypical thing for politicians to, I heard a term, this is a couple of years ago, is or two words I heard medicalese and legalese. And when I heard those two together, something just clicked. And I'm just like, oh my gosh, you step aside from all politics, you step aside from pretty much everything. So that way you can see the bigger picture of what's going on. And you see this new variant that's supposedly coming out. This new, was it a COVID?
Now they're calling it like the cicada. That's what they're calling. They're saying it's in 25 states, and they said, oh, it's evading the vaccines. Like literally, every variant has evaded the vaccine since the vaccines came out, or we wouldn't need 15 boosters.
Right.
But don't get me started on that.
But it was kind of funny that when the COVID came out, the flu disappeared.
Yeah, the flu disappeared. And what was really interesting, again, people were not all of these patients that were dying in the hospitals. It was really interesting, Tim, that why weren't patients dying at home? Why weren't patients dying in the streets? Think about your homeless population that had no access to treatment of any kind. We weren't pulling bodies off of the streets en masse, right? We weren't. The only place that anybody was dying was in the hospitals, and it was because they were not dying of COVID. They were dying of those protocols that they were using. They were dying of the treatment of the remdesivir that would shut down their organs, of barotrauma when we would put them on, we would sedate them. We would put them on these ventilators at settings that were absolutely ridiculous and unheard of. And we're literally blowing out their lungs and drowning them in their own fluid.
Goodness.
And what happened, unfortunately, that was one of the most egregious things that I had ever seen in all of my years in healthcare, was the fact that they started intubating patients that did not need it. Yeah. They were calling for early intubation because they thought it was a way to contain the virus. So it was never about the patient in the bed. If you understand, a ventilator is a closed loop system. When they're on that ventilator, that the virus is no longer disseminated in the air. So their thought process there was that it would protect the healthcare workers. Well, from what I mean, we'd already been exposed to the virus at that point. But even aside from that, we sign up for this. That's what we have PPE for. We never know what we're going to be exposed to, right? So that's just part of our job. You don't do a risky procedure like intubation. That's not a a very easy procedure. And they did this knowing that 80% of those patients that went on a ventilator never made it off. They were really in effect signing their death warrant with every early and unnecessary intubation.
Well, to my understanding, those things are very difficult to come back or to get off of, and you actually lose some muscles. It atrophies a little bit, so it makes it harder to breathe on your own.
Exactly. It should only be in a absolute, life or death situation where if you're going to have to be on a ventilator for an extended period of time, it's not. I mean, these people were awake and alert, and they were not even in distress. They were not even in respiratory distress. So that to me was a real problem to watch that happening over and over again. And I would fight with the doctors in the ICU. Well, that was nothing new. I was always fighting with the doctors in the ICU. But, I'm like, why are we not using, they were like, early intubation, that's the key. And I'm like, no, early treatment. Right. Because we were seeing what was happening with ivermectin. But of course, that medication was demonized and called horse paste and all of these things that that was a medication that's been safely used for 3 decades, had a higher safety profile than an aspirin or a Tylenol.
Yeah. Yeah. So, again, don't go to your ranch supply store to get this, definitely seek, professional, because there are certain ways to take it and you can't just go willy nilly on your own.
Right.
Right.
And we do have access to these medications. So, and we have it for a really, really reasonable price for our members. So.
Very nice. Yeah. So, I can't stress it enough. Don't try it on your own. Definitely seek professional help, such as Kimberly and Amy here. So reach out to the RemnantHealthcare.org.
Yeah.
Let me put that website back up on screen really quick so people can see it. I did put it in the chat, and I'll put it in the show description later. Make sure everybody has access to this on all channels. But yeah, definitely, again, I can't stress it enough, because you can cause yourself more harm than not if you just go out and try it.
Right.
And some people are thinking, oh, fenbendazole. No, that's not the human form. You need to get a prescription.
Mm-hmm.
And it's called menbendazole is what you need a prescription for. That's the human form. So you definitely can't just be going out and playing experiments on yourself.
Right.
It's you can suffer some serious repercussions.
It may do more harm than the healthcare system.
Well, I don't know. It might tie. But yeah, so let's see. Anything further that we could talk about? I mean, there's always something to talk about.
Oh Lord, there's always something.
But you definitely don't feed into the fear of mainstream media. That's for certain.
Right. They turn off the TV, turn off the radio.
And we had a couple of
stop the doom scrolling. Let's find something productive to do.
Yeah. I ended up doing that during COVID because our son was sick then and he was immune suppressed. And, you kept hearing, if you've got asthma, it's going to be bad on you. Or if you've got, you're immune suppressed people, or they're going to die. And so I was terrified that I was going to lose at least 2 of my children, because we had one that's asthmatic and one that is immune suppressed. My husband's like, turn that off.
Yeah.
You don't know what's going to happen. And, when they did have COVID, I'll be honest, they did better than the rest of us.
Isn't that
okay, why are they not really sick?
Mm-hmm.
And so it was just, I don't know. It was, so the whole fear aspect is very real. And I think they really target parents, especially when you have sick children.
Yeah.
But I'm so thankful that I knew better. At that point, I knew better not to take them to the emergency room, because I was hearing everything that was happening to these people that were admitted. And just like Kim said, people we knew that did go to the hospital, they were not that sick, but they were worse. And the people that stayed home and, did the recommended natural supplements, they got well. I mean, yeah, they were sick, but they were not dying like the people were saying on TV.
No, not at all. And a lot of the patients that were getting really sick and dying in the hospital weren't even dying of COVID. If you remember, to Amy's point, and to talk about the fear that everybody was talking about, people were afraid to go into the hospital because there was COVID everywhere. So people were waiting too long to go and get treatment for their diabetes or for their heart disease or whatever else it was. And then by the time that they would get to us in the ICU, they were already too far past where we could really make any meaningful help. And those patients, unfortunately, succumbed to their illnesses. So it was, again, back to that fear-based marketing.
Wow.
But if I'm not mistaken, were you guys not required to put COVID on the death certificate? It was never, oh, they died of heart failure or they died of, their actual disease they had. They were
trying to label everything as COVID, literally everything. I don't care if it was a gunshot wound, it was COVID. So but there was a difference of dying with COVID and dying from COVID. So, and half of them didn't even have COVID, but I digress. I mean, I didn't even get COVID. I worked directly in the ICU at the height of the pandemic through the entire thing. I worked there and it took me 2.5 years to even get COVID. And I was on immunosuppressants at the time. I'm immune suppressed and I still didn't get it. So, and I was not one of those ones that was crazy out wearing masks in the community and all that stuff. I wore a mask in my shift and that was it.
I saw more of the immune suppressed not getting sick.
Well, a curious question, and I have asked this past show, is how long are you supposed to wear a mask for in a professional setting?
Not for 12 hours. Not for 12. Well, listen, they would give us these N95 masks and they would give it to us for 3 days. And we were supposed to put it into this magic brown paper bag that supposedly sanitized the mask. It was like,
you're talking the little lunch bags that we used to get at school?
Exactly that. And they would say, you have to wear this. It's for 3 shifts. Oh, unless your mask fails. Well, let me tell you, my mask kept failing every shift. I was just
to my understanding, it's about an hour to an hour and a half, and you're supposed to switch out masks because they do build up bacteria.
Of course, they're little petri dishes on your face, and then you're just breathing them in. And I mean, the only thing that might make a difference is an N95 mask, and that's still not going to filter everything out. But these little surgical masks that you see people wearing, all you need to do is Google the size of the virus and look at the size of the virus of the mask, and you can understand it's like a mosquito through a chain link fence. It's not stopping anything. It literally says that right on the box. This does not stop the transmission of well,
when you're walking around the store, the grocery store, and you see people with masks, that's just feeding that fear even more because you're witnessing, oh, I have to do this. That reminder of this is real, this is happening. It's just another fear tactic.
Yeah, it is. It is. And it's it's terrible. What some of these governors did to the nursing homes. New York and California were pushing patients into nursing homes. And
well, even the I worked in an ICU. I was not specifically on a COVID unit. So we had patients that had COVID. We had patients that did not have COVID, yet we still have that same N95 mask that we're wearing in our COVID patient room and then again in our non-COVID patient room. So we're basically giving everybody COVID.
Wow.
And that's like prior to COVID, infection control policies never would have allowed that. And that was what I was asking from the beginning. I'm like, how is this? Why are we doing this? We would always don and doff our PPE in the patient's room, and then we'd get a new mask or whatever. But then we were wearing the same mask all throughout the hospital. It made no sense.
Well, and to my understanding, that PCR test amplified it just since it could be like very little of any at all any kind of virus.
Depending on how many times you cycle it, you can get it to say whatever the heck you want.
It'll super amplify it, and it'll give you the result that you're looking for. And even if you're not looking for it, it'll give it to you.
Right.
And when I was looking at the different coronaviruses, even a rhinovirus, which is known as your common cold, is also a coronavirus.
Coronavirus, exactly. And I think a lot of people had and they had the SARS-CoV-1 that was however many years ago. And I think there was a lot of cross immunity. And I think that's probably why I didn't get COVID for as long as I did, because there is immunity to the other COVID viruses. So,
Right.
I remember years ago, some government officials were receiving in envelopes this little white powdery substance. Those possibly anthrax, and those that lived around cattle were not as susceptible to that disease.
Interesting.
Quite interesting on how that played out. And I grew up in a suburb of Silicon Valley, but there's a lot of ranches around where I lived, and it was really interesting to know. I was like, hey, I'm safe. It's like everybody should go to a ranch, in my opinion. And you just, show the value of life, by growing up around a ranch. A lot of people are missing out on that. That's for sure, especially our youth today. Everyone's on the here now society where you can, binge watch your, videos on TV and, order, place an order and tomorrow it shows up. People need to know that, you plant a seed, it's not going to grow overnight.
Right.
So go ahead, Amy.
I was just going to say, like what you're saying, I think people need to get back to grassroots. They need to be, like you said, go to a ranch, plant a seed, because that's where the real nutrition is.
Yeah.
That's where the real health is. And a lot of people don't have good soil. Go find an organic farmer's market, because that's really where real, true health and cellular detoxification begins, is what we're putting in our body. Yeah. And opening up those detox pathways and adding those good things in so that we can detox. Because when you're detoxing, you feel terrible. You want those good nutrients. You want to replace all of that you're missing, so that you're strong enough to detox the junk you don't need.
And some of these elements that we come across, I was 20 plus years of drinking garbage, which soda pop, and it's not going to take overnight to get better. It's going to take time.
Right.
So you got to keep that in mind. You can't just take some magic pill and voila, it's all better. It doesn't work like that.
Yeah, I like to tell the clients, it took you how long to get this bad? Because we'll do an intake and we go as far back as like, when was your first symptom, or the whole detail, and it gives them an idea of, oh, I've been getting really bad for X amount of years. So you build their expectation and you help them realize you're not going to get well overnight. And it's these slow transitional changes that we do in layers. And we're not going to like dump everything. Okay, here's your protocol. You've got to do this by the end of the month. We're going to help them and ease them into a better way of living. Like it's not a prescription. It's a lifestyle change that we teach them. And it's amazing.
Yeah. And you said it right. Lifestyle change. That's absolutely truth right there.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. And it needs to be, there's no magic pill, no magic bullet. You really have to change your lifestyle. And listen, we only get one life and our time here is finite. So
yes, absolutely true.
Right.
Yeah.
So, Amy, you could be reached over at RemnantHealthcare.org, correct?
Yes, sir.
All right. And Kimberly, how about you? Actually, you do a podcast on a regular basis, don't you?
I do every Wednesday. It's the Nurses Report on the America Out Loud Talk Radio Network. And can I plug our event that we've got coming up?
Yeah, go right ahead.
Good. Okay. Thank you. So we do have some events coming up. We're really excited about in July. It starts on July 1st. We are having a fundraising event to celebrate 5 years of Nurse Freedom Network. We're super excited about that. And then on July 2nd, we are going to have another American Freedom Nurses Summit. And then we are going to roll into an incredible 3-day event with the America Out Loud team. They are celebrating the country's 250th birthday. So it's the country's SEMIQUINCENTENNIAL and the network's 10th anniversary. So it's going to be a huge historic event right in downtown Nashville at the Sheraton Grand Hotel. You can go to americaoutloud.news/Nashville and you can get your tickets to go see that. It's going to be really an incredible, but don't forget to come to the Nurse Freedom Network fundraiser. That's really important.
I didn't see that. I'm going to find that link and I'll put it into the
yes,
chat
please.
As well as the show description. Oh, yes, I'm seeing it here. There it is.
Yeah,
we're really bring it up on screen here.
Yeah,
is that what you're talking about?
Yes. That's it. Yeah. And Dr. Peter McCullough is going to be there. It's going to be 3 really incredible days of just truth and patriotic inspiration for everybody. We've got Dr. Alveda King is going to be there. I believe Dr. Sherry Tenpenny is going to be there. I know Peter McCullough and as many of the hosts that are on the America Out Loud network that you listen to all the time. So we're really excited.
Exciting.
Oh, yes. I'm actually seeing some of the people that are going to be there. I'll put the website on screen here.
Yes, go. So you get Dr. Alveda King, Dr. Sherry Tenpenny, Dr. Carol Swain, Dr. Peter McCullough. I'll be speaking there at this event as well. Let's see who else. We get Malcolm Out Loud, which we love. Senator Mark Pody. He's a senator here in Tennessee. Who else?
Wow, there's a lot.
Oh, they've added even more than since I've looked. Oh, great. Dr. Paul Alexander is going to be there. He's amazing. He's
Nathan Jones, Dr. Jeff Barkey. Wow, there's
who's there. There's Kimberly Overton.
Wow. Yeah, there's somebody I know.
Amazing, Kim.
Yeah, this looks like a fantastic event. A lot of good speakers. Wow.
Yeah, it's going to be really fantastic. So I definitely hope you will all join us. Again, that's americaoutloud.news/Nashville. And we will have more information on our fundraiser for Nurse Freedom Network and our American Freedom Nurses Summit. That information, hopefully registration and everything will be opening up here within the next week or two. We're really excited just making those closing those final details. Yeah.
That is awesome. So yeah, we're gonna go ahead and wrap it up. We started a little bit late, unfortunately, due to my co-host having a little technical difficulty, but I'll make sure she gets straightened up next time. Definitely follow Kimberly as well as Amy at RemnantHealthcare.org. What is that correct?
Yes, .org. Mm-hmm.
Excellent. And ladies and gentlemen, be sure to follow, like, share, subscribe, follow Tim Holliday TV. That's TIMHOLLIDAY TV. We're on Facebook, we're on Rumble, we're on YouTube, we're on Twitch TV, and we're iHeart, Spotify, as well as Apple Podcasts. So until next time, ladies and gentlemen, have a
Thank
good
you
time.
for having us. Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you for being on, especially with such short notice.
Yes, it was fun.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.